Alright guys, I'm back with another video, second part, talking about how the government is not responsible for this economy. Not entirely responsible. It is more the responsibility of the people. And the people have no leader. I'm talking about the workers, there's no organization, there's no system in place for the actual people to succeed in an economy. Um, the last video I talked about this, it was getting a little too long, and it was getting a little heated. I talked a little bit about slavery and reading this book that I've been reading, The Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith, written in the 1700s about capitalism. Not necessarily Is not necessarily saying, "Oh, this is capitalism." It probably doesn't even use the word capitalism in that whole book. But it's talking about the system of basically like the system that is in place for making money and making the country more wealthier. Um, so we have a very complicated economy here. A lot of people like to simply say it's capitalism, but it is far more complicated than that. Far more complicated than any type of computer that is assembled, any type of phone. It would take a team of people. I'm talking about thousands, maybe 10,000 people to figure out this economy, get in a room, figure out the systems, what systems are working, what systems are shorting, what systems are benefiting, and whatsoever. Because this economy is starting to show a collapse. And the people at the bottom, when we learned about the Great Depression, is that the Great Depression did not affect necessarily the poor. The drought that happened during the Great Depression affected some poor people, but necessarily the Great Depression did not affect the poor because the poor are always poor. Like, poor people don't make no money. So if a Great Depression happens, it's only going to affect the most the middle class and maybe the very rich. The rich might be able to survive it, but they're going to lose a big chunk of their wealth. Now, there's this thing that I have discovered, or I don't know if you can say I discovered, but I basically kind of discovered that there is this thing. It's kind of like a drug that when you are at a high, and when you are in a high at life, if you just go a little bit lower, you're going to be very depressed because it's almost like you went to a party, a great party, and then party's over. You feel like crap. Now, after the party, you feel like, oh, that was a great party. Oh man, I can't wait to go to another party. And then once you realize that party is over and not coming back and there are no more parties, then you enter a state of depression. Now, this is a natural thing that there's not that much material on this, so I kind of like I don't even know what to even call it. But the super rich, they're living the best life right now. They have to be living the best life. They're gonna crash down here. They might lose billions. If they're billionaires, they're gonna lose billions. They're gonna feel like crap. And then once they start losing billions, it's just gonna be like a domino effect. They're gonna go really low, 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 low. Poor people, they're at zero. Poor people are at zero. They could just get a job, and they're fine. They could steal a little thing. They go to prison. They feed them in prison, and they're good. Poor not really gonna get affected by this crash. Middle class, the people making about a million or have a net worth of about a million or more, like a million to like $100 million, their net worth, they're gonna go to poor. Those guys are gonna lose everything they got because the price of stuff is not going to be worth much, and we're going to need money to pay for things. So it is in everyone's best interest. Well, actually, it's more in the interest of the very rich and the middle class to figure out this thing that's happening, because this bubble or this economy is at a tipping point. It's starting to get destructive, and it's going to affect a lot of people. Now, poor people can live off of rice, but can a billionaire live off of rice? Or a middle class person live off of rice? Live off of McDonald's? I don't think so. They're gonna get very depressed. I seen this. I actually seen it happening now. I see it happening with celebrities hitting this depression because of social media growing so rapidly. Their party is over. They had their glory days in the 80s and 90s, and they're has-beens now. They're still pretty good celebrities, but their best times, their youth is over. They're tired now. They're more serious. They have lost their light, something. So this is why it's important to understand this economy, and I'm saying that there's a bunch of systems in place, and not necessarily no one is control. It doesn't seem like anybody is controlling the system. It seems like the system is running wild. Maybe there's a little bit of bribery here and there, a little bit of manipulation in the system to get more money and all that crap. But for the most part, all that crap, there's not that much. There's no one stopping you from creating products, from manufacturing things and making money, producing foods and goods and stuff like that. No one is stopping you from that. The only thing that is stopping you is probably capital. You have no capital, and probably no one will give you money. But there are people making money. In order for this economy to thrive, everybody has to participate. The money has to flow. The currency has to go fast, like currency, like current. Currency has to flow. If it gets stuck in a battery and just gets stored and lost somewhere, it's going to screw up the entire economy. Every single dollar that was printed in the United States has to be accounted for, and it has to be moving. There's no there's no there's no way that people can hoard money, because it will be stopping the flow of the currency. What people have to do is they have to spend and spend and spend and make the economy flourish, and not hoard wealth. Spend, use, create, spend your money, create and manufacture goods, and spend your money. And make lots of money, manufacture lots of things, and spend your money as quickly as possible. This is what we have to do. Now, people are spending their money quickly when they get into debt. When you get into debt for $20,000, and you spend it, you essentially are spending things faster than you're making them. But there is a problem with that whole debt thing. If you cannot pay your debt, your flow of money seizes, it gets clogged, and you get no more money, and now you have a clogged currency there, and you're just working your ass off to pay that stupid debt. What needs to happen is you need to get more debt. Sadly, this is how it is. You need to get more debt, pay that crap off, you got to have faster and faster debt and never own anything. Debt has to be paid by something. I don't know who the hell's going to pay it, but there's no way of paying debts. What needs to happen is people need to loan people lots of money. People need to spend it. If they cannot pay it back, loan them more money. They spend it. If they can't pay it back, loan them even more money. That's just how this stupid economy has to work. The government actually does that same crap every year. That's why they had that deficit. So they had to borrow $2 trillion. Well, they're going to have to borrow $2 trillion. Then they're going to have to borrow $5 trillion, $10 trillion. Just keep freaking going and going, and that's what's pushing the damn economy. The thing that's screwing it up is we cannot print the money fast enough. So we gotta keep the current flowing rapidly, and everybody needs to have money, and build up the infrastructure and everything, and get the money flowing. Don't hoard wealth. Do not hoard gold or silver or stuff like that. You really do not need gold or silver in for nothing. What, for jewelry? It looks stupid. Um, you don't need it. Maybe for electronics, to have fun electronics. Even electronics, you don't need electronics. You don't need printers. You don't need phones. You don't need tools. You don't need all that crap. Actually don't need crap. But buy it, sell it, buy it, sell it, buy it, sell it. Get the money flowing so the economy does not collapse.